Hello everyone, I'm Aveline. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So I hope you're enjoying your Sunday as well. We are building a a contemporary house today. This one was half requested by one of you, but also, so I built a single mom dream home. Was it last week? I think it might have been last week. I don't know, these past 2 weeks just kind of like flown by, so it might have been last week or it might have been the week before. I don't really know because I'm mixing up timelines in my head. It's fine. But I definitely built a single mom dream home recently, and someone on that video asked if I could do a single dad dream home because I know that they don't, or I realized that a lot of people don't actually do single dad homes, at least not in the same amount as they do single mom homes. I myself am guilty of that, but I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because, you know, I'm a woman, so I relate to the, not that I'm a single mom, but you know what I mean. I don't know how to phrase that sentence, but you know what I mean, okay? But I was going through the comments on that video, and it turned out that someone had asked if I could do a single dad house. And I recently actually read a book, I know, surprise, but anyway, I read a book that included, or like one of the characters was a single dad and he was an architect. So as soon as I read the comment, something clicked in my head and I was like, I need to build this single dad house where it could kind of look like he's an architect as well. Like the house has to look stylish from the outside at least. And that's just kind of what I'm trying to do with this house. But it's been a long time since I've built anything contemporary. I think it is definitely not it's not a strength of mine, if I may say so. This house was also heavily inspired by a picture that I found on Pinterest. I know, surprise. I always use Pinterest. It's an awesome place. Happy place. Definitely recommend you go check it out. But also, the house that I saw had this like very massive front yard. And yes, it was a front yard. It's not just that I've turned the house around. They didn't really have a backyard. They just had the front yard. So that's what I ended up doing. I know that it looks a little bit odd in The Sims as well, but I just really felt like it looked cool, so I decided to just go with it for a change. And I also felt like the house itself fit this idea of the single dad that I had in mind. So that's what we're building today. This is the house for a single dad, and also I believe it's a daughter. I'm pretty sure I made it for a daughter, but I could be mistaken. But honestly, you could have anyone living in this house if you want to. Like, it doesn't have to be a single dad and their daughter or son or whatever. It could be anybody that you want living in here. None of my builds are gender specific is what I'm trying to say. So just go with whatever you want to, but it's just kind of the idea that I have in my mind when I'm decorating. So yeah, but yeah, I really thought this picture of the house looked cool, so I wanted to see if I could at least maybe not fully recreate it, but close to this time actually, and especially the yard because it had this like cool, but it was so much more detail that I could do in The Sims simply because I was mixing both platforms and foundations, and that's not really something that is easy to do in The Sims because it gets very messy. And this whole part of the front yard where the pool is, for example, that was supposed to have been on a platform. However, you cannot actually put a pool on a platform. So for a second I was like, okay, I need to raise a very massive area so that I could actually put it on a foundation instead, but that just ended up looking so stupid. I think I ended up cutting it out of the video too. I think what I was trying to do at some point was basically raise up this entire area where there's grass so that that was on a foundation so that I could still put the pool on a heightened platform of some sort. Not an actual platform, but just the foundation. But it wasn't working because The Sims. So we can't really mix foundations and platforms. So the pool is on the ground, but still decided to cover it up with some wooden flooring as well. I think it looks nice, but it doesn't look the exact way that I wanted it to, unfortunately. It would be nice if we could at some point put pools on platforms. I always said foundations, but we can do that already. It would be nice if at some point we could put pools on platforms. I'm not really sure why we can't. It's very weird, but that would definitely have helped me a little bit with this whole issue that I had here. So, but as for the rest of the house, I decided to, because in this book, so it's The Match by Sarah Adams. I'm not really sure that I fully enjoyed it, to be honest, but I've talked about that in one of my videos over on my other channel if you want to check that out. I do have a booktube channel, so you can find that linked in the comment section, in the pinned comment. But this dad had, like, his house wasn't fully decorated with, like, personal stuff. It was more like, it was a home, or it was a house, a decorated house, but it wasn't really a home. Does that make sense? So I was kind of trying to do that a little bit, but also I'm not really good with that. I'm not really good with that because I like cozy feels. That's just, I thrive on cozy feels. Like, I need to cozy up with myself every day with a book and, you know, candles lit and stuff, because that's my de-stress. So I'm not really good with just making everything very clinical and not decorated and, like, say bye to all the clutter and stuff. Also, by the way, how many of you so badly want a clutter kit at some point? Wouldn't that be amazing? I am begging you, EA or Maxis, please. If there's any kits that we deserve, it would be a clutter kit. Thank you. But as for the interior, definitely tried to tone it down a little bit because, again, did not want it to look super homey, super cozy, anything like that. But, but it's just, it feels so not finished when there's a lack of decor in my houses. So I might have made up for it a little bit, but I hope you guys like the interior regardless. It also means that it should be very easy for you to also put your family stuff in there, so like just the kind of decor that you feel like fits the household that is living in this house, if that makes sense. That is one thing to keep in mind when you build houses, actually, that are up for download. I know that for videos, a lot of people like when you have like a background story for whatever household is living in the house that you're building in the video. But there's a fine line too, because if you put it up for download, people don't want it to be super specific. So they don't want it to be for this very like thought out and very specific family, because they want it to be, or they want to be able to use the house for their family that is also super specific, but maybe not identical to the one that you're building for. So there's a fine line there, there's a fine balance, but sometimes I just overlook it. Sometimes I don't care. I feel like this one though, it would be very easy for you to decorate it to your liking, to the household that you have in mind yourself, rather than the one that I have in mind, because it's a little bit emptier, if that makes sense. And also, I do want to ask if there is anything specific that you'd like to see from me. So not like a specific household that you'd like to see me build for, or if you want a family home with like 3-4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, not that sort of thing. If there's anything like, or maybe like a specific household, but not necessarily size. If there is, just let me know what you want me to build. Yes. I know, I'm super particular when it comes to that sort of thing. But it's also because I don't like to take personal requests. So like if one of you have like a family of 5, for example, and you want there to be 4 bedrooms in the house and also 3 bathrooms, and one of the Sims like to work out, another one likes to do yoga or paint or whatever. Suddenly I have this to-do list for my builds, and that's just not inspiring for me, so I usually overlook those requests. But if you have any that are not specific like that, definitely let me know, because I'm all for those kinds of suggestions. I'm not good with the other ones, because I just like to have some freedom for myself when I build. That makes it a lot more fun for me, instead of feeling like I have a to-do list, if that makes sense. So yeah, all for suggestions. Keep them coming. I am gonna be looking into it for next week. I don't really have anything planned, so go crazy in the comments. But anyway, so the house. For the interior, it's funny because we're just gonna quickly talk about this, okay? So there was a little situation with the staircase that I ended up changing because there's a piece of the glass railing just kind of jutting through the wall and it looks very strange. And that is partly because I am using platforms and the game doesn't always, it's a little wonky now and then, you know how it goes. And also partly because I decided not to use an actual archway for the entry to the kitchen. I decided to go for pillows. I almost said pillows, and then I tried to fix it at the last moment, but then it just ended up sounding weird. Pillars? Columns? I ended up using columns for an archway instead. But even though I can change, like, even though I can move those with my tool mod, I still have to place them so that they line up with an opening in the wall. You can't just cut out a little bit of the wall and then leave the rest of the square, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that made any sense, but it's fine, whatever. So I decided to go with columns to start out with, and I fixed it by actually swapping them to an archway instead so that I could cover up this little bit of the wall or a bit of the railing where the glass is poking out. You could kind of see it. This is when I changed it, but you could kind of see it on the right side of the screen just like 20 seconds ago. But I took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter before I fixed it. So while the glass railing was still jutting out, like sticking out of the wall, I took a picture of it and put it on Twitter. And it wasn't meant to be like, let's drag the Sims or let's drag the team or whatever, because I realize there are limitations when you're building. That's just how it is. Like, you can't get everything your way. Sometimes you have to work around a few bugs and stuff, or not necessarily bugs, but just like stuff that doesn't really work in The Sims. It's not, I don't mean a bug, but stuff like that where it's just two mechanics that aren't working together, if you will. So I realized that there are stuff like that that you just kind of have to find a workaround with. But a lot of people seem to think that I was just posting it to drag the team, and that's just not what it was about. So there was a lot of comments on that tweet all of a sudden, not aimed at me, but aimed at the team, and that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Someone as well was commenting on my wood tones, which, first of all, the house was not done, but also, you and I know that I don't like matching wood tones in my houses. I don't want, it was like, the way that they phrased it was like 3 different wood tones. Again, I hadn't actually changed the wood tone of the railing at the time, so that was just kind of like a stand-in, if you will, or whatever. But then I'm like, so you're basically judging me for placing down 3 wood tones, even though I'm definitely just gonna go for 2. Is 2 still too much? Because I would not want my whole house to match 1 wood tone. That sounds terrible to me. So I don't know about you guys, but I think we're on the same page by now. Like, you know that I like to mix and match my wood tones. I like to force them to work together, if that makes sense. That's what I'm about. So it just doesn't feel realistic to me either when everything is super matchy-matchy, because that's just not, like, you'd have to buy customized furniture or buy all your furniture from the same place if you want everything to fully match in real life at least, or you have to be very specific with each little piece of furniture that you buy. I don't know. My apartment is the way it is to my liking, and I can tell you for sure that there's a lot of non-matching wood tones. I mean, my apartment is basically just black, white, and gray, but let's just ignore that for a second, okay? But there's, like, the surface on my table, my dining table, is wood, and that's like a light wood, but then the legs on my couch are a darker wood. So, like, I don't know. What do you mean? Why are you dissing my wood tones in an unfinished house? Would you not want to wait until the final product before you're gonna diss it? I feel like that makes more sense, but anyway, I haven't replied to them simply because I cannot be bothered, but I just keep, like, whenever I go on that tweet, I'm like, really? That's what you're dissing? Really? What? Put so much effort into dissing other people for their work, even though there's no reason to. Just, there's no reason to. I'm smiling through this. Please don't go on there and be mean to them or whatever. I know you guys don't do that anyway. It's just me, like, laughing about it. So that's my goal with talking about it. We're just laughing about it, okay? I don't mean to send you guys after this person in any way whatsoever, because honestly, I don't care. I find it funny, so I thought I would just talk about it. So, not hurt in any way whatsoever. I think I placed down a couple of clutter items here in the kitchen, and then I forgot to actually proper place them down. So I go back, might have been off cam, I'm not really sure, I don't fully remember, but I go back definitely at some point and, oh, sorry for that noise, and fix it. It's like we're getting to this point. So if you've been on the channel for a while, or not been on the channel, but if you've been following the builds and watched the builds for a while, last year summer was hard because it's very warm in my apartment, and we're getting to that point where it's like 28 degrees in my office, and I'm sitting here in a sweater because I like to drown in fabric, as I've said on stream a couple of times. It's getting very difficult. It's getting very warm in here, and I'm not here for it. So there might be complaints about that in the future videos, although not in this upcoming week because it's getting in this upcoming week because it's getting a little bit colder again, but I'm just warning you ahead of time, just so you know. Anyway, we're working on the dad's house, obviously, the dad's bedroom. Listen, it's Sunday. I can't do voiceovers, okay? My brain is like clocked out for the week. We're starting up again tomorrow. It's not working right now. But anyway, we're working on the dad's bedroom. Definitely a lot of matching wood tones in here. That was fully on purpose though. I kind of wanted to go for so this is actually because I swear this is just for fun, okay? So I was slightly inspired by a comment that I got on my maximalist apartment. Someone was like, I like this a lot better than white and beige interiors. And I was like, ooh, white and beige. I should bring that into my next build. Not to be like snarky or anything like that. Not at all. That's not at all what I meant. It was just like, I remembered that comment, and which I didn't take offense to when I read it, by the way. Just again want to point out we all have different preferences and stuff. I don't like white and beige interiors in real life either. They're too pale for me. Anyway, I like some contrasts in my interiors. But I remembered that comment when I started doing the bedroom and I found the swatch. It was actually the swatch of the bed that hit me, or that reminded me of the comment. So I was like, I should do the interior in that color scheme, because why not? But then I also threw a little bit of color in here with the painting and also the rug. Both are from, well, the majority of this room is actually from Dream Home Decorator, but that's also what I felt like would fit the house, to be honest. It's very like sleek and clean, and you can kind of just have fun with it and make all these modular pieces fit with the floor plan and everything, the wall and stuff. So I have 5 tiles behind the bed, and it just made more sense to kind of go for Dream Home Decorator to kind of make sure that everything was placed the way that it was supposed to, and there'd be no gaps behind or next to the bedside tables, for example, because that's kind of the look that I wanted to go for. I don't know if I can explain it, but hopefully you get what I mean. But also it felt really nice to actually do something a little bit more toned down after the apartment that I put up Tuesday. I really respect you guys for not taking offense to like me saying that that's not my thing at all. But I feel like if you are new to the channel, that also shouldn't come as a surprise. Like, I think most of you know that I'm not very into like clashing patterns and a lot of colors, and I know maximalism is more than that. I know that, but I respect you guys a lot for taking my comments without getting offended. So thank you for that. I was like, because whenever I hear anybody trash a book that I loved, I don't take offense to it whatsoever. We all have different preferences, and I wanted to make sure that I also said that in the video, but I don't know, it's hard online. Sometimes you can misread tones and stuff, and I just appreciate you for not actually taking offense. So, thank you for being a good sport is what I'm trying to say anyway. But I really felt like I needed to flee back into something that feels a little bit more like my comfort zone. So that's what I was trying to do here. Every time I use this playtester sim, I get comments about the red bear. It's just a costume. I don't know where it came from. I was just playing around with my playtester's outfit on stream one day, and I was like, oh, a strawberry bear. That is so cute. So now she looks like that. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry if it's distracting, but she's cute looking like that, so I don't want to change it. So for the rest of the build, I think we're just doing mainly exterior stuff. I basically wanted to make sure that they had an outdoors dining table. Oh, right! And the other bedroom, because I completely forgot. I don't know how that happened. Honestly, Have no clue, but it suddenly hit me that I hadn't decorated the child's bedroom, so I went back inside and decorated it as the last thing, I think. It was very odd. Like, how do you forget a whole bedroom? How does that happen? I don't know. But that's what we're doing. So I think I ended up going for this swatch for the bed and then just kind of tried to tie everything in with the bed sheets because that looks cute in The Sims in my opinion. I know that in real life you probably change the bed sheets now and then. If you don't, I highly recommend that you do start doing that anyway. So I probably wouldn't, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your houses, interiors, how you're going to decorate them and whatever, but personally, I probably wouldn't tie everything in with the bed sheets if I'm going to change them every now and then, unless I keep getting bed sheets in the same color scheme. But that seems like a lot of effort, so I don't know. But yeah, just trying to tie everything in with the bed sheets basically, so everything just looks like it's coordinated in here and stuff. It's the only colorful room in the entire house, so I had to go out, all out a little. I had to go out. I can't speak today. I feel like that's just the thing. We've come to terms with it, right? Yeah, I feel like we have. So I'm just trying to make everything look like it's a little bit coordinated or something. So also, I figured that those postcards in the book, the kid's mom is not really present. She's still alive. She's still somewhere out there, but she's not really making an effort, if that makes sense. So she just kind of travels from one place to the other, and I figured even though in the book she doesn't actually stay in contact with the kid, I think, at least I'm pretty sure that she doesn't, but anyway, I figured in the build I would at least give them some postcards or something that we could pretend was from the mom. So yeah. And as for the rest of the video, placing down some trees, trying to fix this little thing right here that I turn into a fountain, sort of. That was the whole thing. It's fine. But that is basically it. So if you guys like this house, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And the tray files, as always, can be found over on my Patreon, which will be linked to in the description box, as well as in the pinned comment. Like I said earlier, if you want to check out my BookTube channel, it'll also be linked in the pinned comment. But that is all I got today. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Even when the sun begins to shine again, taking all the advice there is and none of it has helped. Experience has made me realize that I won't build my life on empty words. Being so damn naive, it only hurts. I'm so tired of love songs like never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone who wants me to. I've heard every cliche there is and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs. I'm sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. Looking back on how I used to be, I always thought that love was made for me. Oh well, I was just as blue